Mayor Lessner, thank you again so much for meeting with me. We do this about once every 6 months, and you are always so open with your information and helpful. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, so I really do. Get the message out to people.
It allows me to stay on top of what's happening in Fairview. A lot of times I get fresh information from you, which I really like.
Well, good.
First of all, let me ask you, you got a couple of new fast food places coming up. Correct. And you had originally, Fairview had originally tried to not do that. Is that correct?
So I wasn't involved in it, but go back when the village of Fairview Island were being developed, my understanding was that the folks in Fairview chose to allow the fast food restaurants to go on the island side.
Okay.
Part of that, whether it had anything to do with the council or not, I'm not sure, but I know that Macy's, Dillard's, and Penny's own their parking lots.
Right, we had talked about that.
Right.
I was just wondering how they got permission to put that.
So they're not in their parking lots. That's outside the parking lots. Okay. So yeah, there's two of them there. One is I think it's called Salad to Go.
Yes, I just saw their sign.
And then the other one is Swig, which is a specialty drink company, and I don't really know anything about it other than that.
Okay.
But yeah, they were recruited by Lincoln Properties, and obviously they're getting, especially the salad places, coming along really well.
So those are still part of Lincoln Property.
They are,
but it's not owned by Macy's, or the parking lot is.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they are on. It's in the Fairview Town Center, which is run and owned by Lincoln Properties. Yeah. And that the property, the physical ground they're on, is Lincoln Properties property.
Okay. Yeah. And this one that's going in front of 24-Hour Fitness, was that the other one that you mentioned?
That's Swig. Yeah, that is Lincoln Properties property.
Okay.
Yeah, the other one is over here by the racetrack in front of kind of in front of Acasio's, kind of in between there.
Do they have any more room for any more fast food places? Do you know?
I am not aware of any new fast food places. If you go back a number of years ago, Whole Foods down there, that was kind of a big deal. That Capital One and the mattress firm, that Whole Foods allowed that to happen.
Right.
But I have not heard anything more about any other fast food restaurants. Okay. If you're interested, there's quite a bit going on with Fairview Town Center.
Okay, good.
Because there's quite a bit going on I'm going to go from east to west, from Town Hall and working my way towards Dillard's. There's a brewery, we talked about this before, Wild Acres, and we've been kind of, when's it coming? So they're in there working really hard. So maybe in the May timeframe, we think that will open.
Fantastic.
That is around the corner from my pick. All that area, it used to be a seafood restaurant, if I recall. That area is going to be the brewery. Okay. So they are working on that. If you go back to down a little bit further where Twisted Root used to be, there's a new restaurant coming there called Po' Boys. They're out of Shreveport, and my understanding is we are the only other location. So this is their second location. Good. And it's kind of Louisiana Cajun kind of stuff, which I like.
Fantastic.
I'm looking forward to that.
Too. Yeah.
We have, I am told, I don't know who, but if you know where Cafe Gecko is, right on the other end of that, facing the performance area and stuff, there's a restaurant coming there. I was also asked about...
Can you name that yet?
I cannot.
Okay.
And I don't know.
I
don't. They haven't told me. But I do know from talking to Lincoln that there's negotiations going on there. If you go further down to where Patricio's used to be, I am told, again, I don't know who, but I'm told that there's a restaurant looking at Patricio's.
Such a beautiful building, too.
It is. It's a nice, but it's a big place.
It is.
It's got to be something good. So other things happening with Fairview Town Center, North Texas Performing Arts, the youth theater that's there, they're going to do some expansion as well. They are just doing great guns. And I'll brag, I have 3 granddaughters that participate in that, and they love it. They are, I mean, it's fabulous what they do there. The Irish pub place. They have been only open on certain days of the week, and as the weather improves, they're going to go to regular hours.
Good.
They've got a really nice outdoor area now where they can serve lunch and stuff, so that'll be coming up here shortly. Wild Salsa, which has
what I
been
was going to ask
closed.
about.
It's been closed for a long time. Wild Salsa, they shut them down, both of them, because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we had the big ice storm last year in February, they had severe damage in there, and they've been working on that. They have had supply chain issues, and I believe it because I've been in there. They have told me, last week I checked, May, they're going to open up in May again.
Good.
So there's some other things happening with Fairview Town Center that the council has approved. The area that used to be the garden area, the sand pits turned into a hotel.
Yes.
There's going to be some more apartments built in there. I don't remember the number of units, but there's some apartments being built there. And then if you go all the way down to Dillard's, on the north side of that, there's never been anything in that piece of property, in that rental area there. And there's going to be some apartments there as well, and they're going to add 2 stories onto the parking garage in the back there.
Okay.
And I know that, adding apartments in anywhere in this area is a controversial thing, but the council was convinced that this is necessary because it's density. Yep. People that are really close that can walk and use take advantage of the restaurants and open areas and stuff. And I also tell you, I drive through there at least once a day, sometimes 2 or 3 times. And if you go through there at night again, Cafe Gecko and Lincoln Properties is starting to have some entertainment at night as the weather is. I was through there Saturday. There were people all over the place in that area there. So just children running around and people playing bocce ball and things like that. So that's really good to see that this early in the year.
They've got to get, and it sounds like they're starting to get something to draw people into that back area. That's fantastic. Yeah. And that adds tax revenue to you guys too, doesn't it?
It's sales tax dollars, which Lincoln gets a good part of that. But where there's alcohol involved, we get all that. So,
that's nice.
Drink up.
Yeah. Okay, that's how that works.
Yeah.
I know you've got $1 million guarantee a year.
It's a 380 agreement. So yeah.
So we get all of the.
We get the property tax associated with it, and then
that's great.
So that works out really well for us that way.
Good.
Just some other commercial stuff. I wrote up my mayor's message. So this is an announcement, however, whoever gets this before. The new Fairview Farmer Cafe is opening. I drove by there
yesterday.
They're opening on Monday.
Fantastic.
So it's a soft opening. Everybody's wondering, why are they taking so long? I talk to them at least once a week. They are having great difficulty in hiring people.
Isn't that amazing?
It seems amazing. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that because I talk to these people. When I first met them, when they are the people that own Sunview Cafe down on Stacy, down in Allen, or owned it. Now they sold it. They have a place in Louisville, a place in the Colony, and I met them in Anna, which is a year ago now. And the issue with it was their grand opening, and so I'm sitting there talking. The fellow's name is Fateh. And he had his uncle, cousin, brother-in-law, sister, mother, everybody was working there. And why? They can't hire people. They opened up in Melissa, they have a place. Again, trying to hire people. And now Fairview, they pay $20 an hour.
Wow.
So
think of that.
Yeah, listen to that, folks, $20 an hour.
If you've got kids, that's, the other day I went through I tried to go to a Burger King, middle of the day, they were shut down. Yeah. And you'd think a chain would be able to at least keep, but they're having the same problems. Yeah. I don't know what are people doing that weren't. Yeah. Trying to figure that out. What are they doing? Now they got to be making some kind of money.
Well, somewhat political, but I think a lot of the stimulus money and stuff that went out over the past 2 years or so has maybe disincentivized some people. Yeah. And then you probably have heard of the Great Retirement, people who are older.
Yes.
And they just get to a point in their lives and they say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they're working at fast food places generally, but coincidentally, I went to have lunch with my granddaughter up in McKinney, the youngest one up at Caldwell Elementary, and she wanted Chick-fil-A. So I went into the Chick-fil-A in Allen on McDermott to pick up what she wanted, and lo and behold, there's a person who is my age, used to go to my church, working there now. So she just wanted to be out working again.
Yeah.
Not that she needs the money or
well,
anything.
that's a fantastic. Chick-fil-A's kind of set the standard as far as I'm concerned, as far as fast food. The employees that they hire and the job that they do, they get the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And I actually, Neil lives here.
Yeah, I know.
And I asked him, I said, how do you hire such great quality people and keep them? I said, do you pay them more? He said, no, we pretty much match everybody else, but we're very selective about who we take. We spend a lot of time on that on the front end. So
that's important.
Yeah. So did you eat at that restaurant? Were you up in, when you were Melissa?
I ate at the one in Anna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How was it? What kind of food is it?
It's breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
It's if you've been to Eggalicious, if you've been to Benny's Cafe up in McKinney, if you've been down to the Sunrise Cafe over here, it's essentially the same menu.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a large menu, lots of choices, breakfast, as many places, stuff as you want. And then you turn it over, there's a very large, diverse lunch menu as well.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be open for dinner, but one of the big deals for them was the fact that there's a patio there. And somehow they're going to use that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the beginning or later on, or maybe just see how it goes and offer dinner or something. But initially it's breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
But I cannot wait.
You know, Henry, when we were sitting here 6 months ago, it was dead. There was nothing going on.
Yeah.
It was a lot of, well, we think they're going to reopen. We think. Now it's like a whole different page has been turned.
So you mentioned sales tax the other day. We just had a council meeting on Tuesday, so we get an update from Stephen Ventura, our CFO. And if you look at our sales tax revenue, it is up significantly from last year and the year before.
Correct.
Year over year, it's looking good right now. So that's good for everybody that's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the place, the event, the smaller building?
Yeah, we used to be called Noah's.
Yeah,
it's
what's
now
it called?
Acasio's.
Okay.
And Acasio is the name of the lady who runs it.
Okay.
And they're doing well as well.
Good.
I mean, they've had it's the same as it was. I mean, inside it looks exactly like it did with Noah's. They will help you more with catering. I do know that.
Okay.
But I've known several people, several realtors, and some small businesses that have had events there, Christmas events, and they are all very pleased with it. And Acasio is a very warm and friendly person. You'd like it. So. Go.
You know, we used to have our realtors meeting, and that I don't know what changed. I don't know why we moved that.
I'm going to guess that because it was closed for a while, and they don't know it's open. So put a word in for them.
I sure will.
And it's a really nice place.
Yeah, it is very nice.
I always, when we first saw it, I tell what's it like inside? It's like a really nice Fairview home.
Yeah.
And you're in you know what that is.
Yeah.
They're really there's. It's just really well done.
And the thing I like about it, you don't have to rent that big space.
Yeah.
They've got smaller.
There's three rooms in there that you can rent, one at a time, or all together, or two, or whatever kind of mix you want to do. But they're doing all right.
Okay, anything new on Billingsley?
Nothing new. We've gone through back in 2010, 11, 12 time frame. The council went through. Looking at zoning for this area where I'm pointing north and where we're sitting, we have a form-based code there. And what that does is it's very, very specific about what they're allowed to build, setbacks, type of materials, streetscapes, what things look like.
Yeah.
And it's very, very detailed. So over the past year, our staff and Billingsley have gone through there and literally checked everything, changed a few words here and there. The council spent a couple of weeks on that, actually a couple meetings, months on that, going over that. And then, so basically whenever they decide to come, they don't have to apply for things. It's already kind of preset, as long as they do what it says. Right. If they come in with something, it's out of bounds or something, we'll have a conversation about that. But their plan, I think, is dependent upon some of the road situation. So, we're going to move Frisco Road south.
Yes.
So it matches up with Country Club. And then when that happens, and by the way, that probably you'll see construction maybe October of this year.
Really? Okay.
By
the way, we're talking about the southeast corner of 121 and 75.
Correct. Yeah, up in that area.
Yeah.
And so right south of the hospital, McKinney Medical Center.
Yeah.
So Frisco Road's going to be moved south, and that's going to tie in directly a four-way corner there with a country club. We think TxDOT's going to pay for that intersection, and then they're going to take it all up into McKinney. And so I think the first piece that Billingsley develops is going to be somewhere up in that area.
Okay.
So if you can think about moving Frisco Road south, where Highway 5 is today, Greenville, that little area right there, I think there'll probably be some kind of small retail, maybe a restaurant or two, something up there. Okay. And then they will probably build behind the Korean church that's there. There may be some apartments and stuff, but they've limited 4 stories there. And then the next place I think they're going to go is over on the access road. And there's a couple places over there where they're really interested in bringing some other restaurants to town, which I'm very excited about. I can't say who, but they're well known. Right. And there's none of them like this close by. Good. And they're restaurants that are well known, and people flock to these places.
Why do you and I always end up talking about food?
Because it's one of my favorite things, man. And yours too. Huh?
You can tell.
Whatever matters, food counts. I've been saying for years and years. This little restaurant over here, Fairview Farmers. Yeah. I mean, breakfast. That's what my number one economic development thing for me personally is that.
So as far as you know, they're still.
Billingsley is very much involved with us. It's just a matter of they've got to come up with some detail kind of stuff, and we need to get Frisco Road done. Okay. There's got to be access to the area. There's no way to get in there.
So they're waiting on that, you think, before they? Okay.
Well, there's no other way to get there.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to get that done. Other things going on. I'm going to transition into roads, if that's okay. There's some things going on with roads right now that many people on the west side of town along Highway 5 have been hear about this. I've had several meetings with HOAs and stuff recently. But so TxDOT's come out with a plan. They want to expand Highway 5, make it go back a number of years ago, 10 years, it was 6 lanes divided. It's now a 4-lane divided road, what TxDOT wants to do. So so that we have, me personally especially, I've had multiple conversations with that. We're about to send a letter out. What we want is what they want to do on the south end of town, which is here at Stacy, and then what they do up at the north end of town, there at the Country Club and Frisco Road and such, and leave the rest of it alone. That's kind of what the message is. So whether they will accept that and do what we want them to do is we're going to be talking about that. Yeah. This is a couple years out, probably 3 to 5 at least, maybe 10. But our priority right now is getting Fairview Parkway done.
And by the way, why don't you explain where Fairview Parkway is, branches off of Highway 5.
Yeah, so as Fairview Parkway today is as you come coming north on Greenville out of Allen, going north into Fairview, you as it sits today, it's kind of awkward actually. Yeah. You got there's 2 lanes, 1 lane that turns right, 2 lanes that go straight, and then 2 lanes that turn left to go on Stacy. The 2 lanes that go north, one of them goes straight through on Highway 5 on Greenville, and then the other one gets down there and it turns on a street called Indian Springs. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is, and TxDOT has agreed to this, is that instead of when you go into Fairview, instead of going on to Greenville, you're going to go on to Fairview Parkway. So Fairview Parkway will be brought down to Greenville, or to where Stacy is, and then the 2 lanes that go north will go on Fairview Parkway. Okay. And then there will be probably another light where Indian Springs is. And Indian Springs is where the ponds are out there. Where, and those ponds are, by the way, owned Lincoln Properties and the villas over here, villas in the park. But there'll be a hard stop there. So you'd have to want to go on Greenville.
So you got to make a right.
You got to make a right-in turn and go up that way. And we hope to keep it as it is today. Okay. We're working on that. Okay. But we have a kind of a.
And when is that projected? Any idea?
I'm going to say within the next 4 years. Okay. And why? Because we have to get to Ridgeview. Allen, if you think about the outlet mall over in Allen and the road just north of there where the data centers and stuff are, there is Chelsea is the north-south road that goes up to 121 and becomes Hardin and McKinney. So Ridgeview comes across and dead ends at Chelsea. Allen is going to start work this year. They've got the right-of-way, they've done the engineering, they've got the money. They're going to extend Ridgeview over to 75, the access road. It'll be just north of the funeral home over there. And then TxDOT is going to start working on the overpass, the Ridgeview overpass, this year also. So that feeds right into Fairview Parkway. So we've got to have Fairview Parkway up there around 2024, 2025, whenever they complete that. I don't have a schedule yet, but that's kind of what we're talking about. So that's really important. And there's a lot of really important for that. One, it'll be if you ever go on Stacy Rd, especially coming west to east, traffic is just terrible. It's one of the worst places around here. We think that a lot of people will choose to use Ridgeview instead. Ridgeview getting in and out of town is easier that way. It'll be easier getting into town. It also is a kind of the southern end to entrance to our commercial area, both Fairview Town Center and whatever's built on all those fields up there, and then Billingsley up there a little further. So that's a big one. We have, and Allen is doing their part, TxDOT's doing their part. We've got to get the road up to there. So I'm thinking Fairview Parkway will probably be incrementally built. We'll do that first. As you get up, I'm going to switch to the northern end. When Frisco Rd is relocated, there will be an intersection with Fairview Parkway there. Fairview Parkway becomes Medical City Drive in McKinney. McKinney is already committed to make Medical City Drive 4 lanes divided, which they look as an entrance to their community. And if you go just north of Highway 125, it is 4 lanes divided. So they're going to match that up there with us. So all of that, there's a lot of stuff going on up there. We've got to trade some property with McKinney. Anyway, it's all moving in the right direction.
Has everything been bought and owned, or do you have to?
We don't have to buy anything. No, that's done. And we have the right of way to get up to Ridgeview and all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of doing it.
Frisco Rd is where that little hat shop. They do the what's that? They do the.
Well, there's a T-shirt shop there.
T-shirt
basically.
shop.
All that's gone.
So
I think I mentioned this last time. So one of the things that's going to, Billingsley owns that now. And I think that, people live in that where the T-shirt place is, and I think there's one other house that's still occupied there. Those are all rentals owned by Billingsley. They're going to be emptied, and Billingsley's actually donating 2 of those, I don't know which 2, but 2 of those homes to our fire department to burn down and do real live fire type firefighting experience. So that's going to happen. The big deal with Frisco Rd that's going to take a while is utilities location. If you think about coming north on Greenville or coming into Country Club right there where it dead ends, there's a ton. There's telephone poles, there's electrical stuff, there's traffic signals, there's a lot of stuff right there. But all that, I mean, they're literally right where the road's going to go. So all of that has to be moved. And so those discussions are ongoing with Encore and with AT&T and Suddenlink, and I think there's a cable company in there, and TxDOT has to move the traffic lights, and there's a bunch of stuff that has to be done. But those conversations are in progress. So it'll take them longer to do that than it will for us to build the road, frankly. Anyway, so that's happening.
What were we going to say about the railroad?
So the railroad, that if you go where DART goes through there, which is nothing happening with that, but just north or just east of there is where Stoddard Road is. Okay, so one of the big problems we have is Puster Elementary, before school, after school. And again, these meetings I've been having with TxDOT has agreed to put a light there. And that is a big deal.
It's going to be at the corner of which?
Stoddard and 13th and Country Club. So as you're exiting Puster, you're going north. You get to there, and it's a busy road. So we have a right-hand turn lane.
That's a great idea.
So we're gonna. I mean, I've told them that was my #1 priority. I want a light there because it's really dangerous, frankly. So that's one. So go around Country Club a little bit, and then you think about, you go past Herd Museum, you go around the corner there, and then there Hart Road and Red Oak. So we have asked TxDOT to put turn lanes there. TxDOT literally right now they're doing a traffic study. I think we might get these. and they will build a right-hand turn.
Golly.
And another one.
That'll really speed up pickup times for, and especially because now Puster is taking the kids from.
Well, partly what was Lovejoy Elementary.
Yeah, what was Lovejoy.
There's a lot of people coming that way.
Yeah, and I hear that again and again and again, how busy it is right there. So that'll help
So
a
again,
lot.
from my perspective, this, it's congestion, it's public safety. So the light was number one, because that's people, I'm afraid somebody's going to get killed there one of these days. And interestingly enough, that's how TxDOT decides whether to put lights there or not. There were 5 criteria they studied. I mean, I'm not even getting into the weeds here a bit, but there's 5 criteria, and we only met one of them because we haven't had any accidents. We haven't had anybody die. We had to really twist some arms to get this done. So anyway, that's coming. That'll probably, I was hoping it could be done over the summer, but it's being done in TxDOT's next fiscal year.
So you think by next school year?
The fiscal year starts in October. I think this will be right at the top of their list to do.
I know the parents are going to be happy.
Yeah, so hopefully by the end of the year we get that light in. I'm guessing now, if they do agree to do the turn lanes for us at Hart, Red Oak, and Country Club there, I'm guessing that might be a next summer kind of project.
Okay.
Other things we've asked for, just so everybody knows, I've written about this in the mayor's message, but so there's nothing new on this other than the fact that it's happening. We've asked for, in front of Sloan Creek Intermediate School, we've asked for a turn lane there. Right now it's just 2 lanes. We have police there and stuff. We've asked for a 3rd lane through there, so there's a turn lane.
Go from which direction?
Both. It'll be available from either direction. Our officers who are there will manage how that works.
Okay.
But it'll get people off the road. So I'm thinking in the morning, especially if you're going south on Country Club, you'll be able to go through there. People who want to make a turn into Sloan Creek Intermediate will go into the turn lane and then be able to turn.
Okay.
So it'll help traffic there. It's not so much, it's a safety thing, but mostly it's traffic control. And then you got where TxDOT did already for us, the Stacy Rd turn lanes there. And then the other thing we've asked for, and I don't know that we're going to get this one, but if you get at the corner of Country Club and Stacy Road, it doesn't quite match up with what the other side of the road looks like. And there's just 2 lanes there, and it gets backed up there with people wanting to make right-hand turns. That is a big one, an expensive one for TxDOT to fix. They don't own the property, they don't have the right-of-way, and then if you remember where that is, it's a big drop-off. So we hear a lot from Heritage Ranch about why can't we make a right-hand turn and stuff there. So we're trying, but I'm not sure we're going to get that one, but we've asked. Because it will be an expensive project because it drops off. Big drop off there, and they're going to have to fill that in somehow. They got to buy the property. They're going to have to fill that in. They're going to shore that up somehow, and then they're going to let.
That was a major project they did on Stacy Road just to get it down there.
For sure.
There was a lot of cut and fill to build that wall up. So that's a.
So we've asked. So we're seeing. So going further, we've asked for a turn lane in front of Lovejoy there, just like in front of Sloan Creek Intermediate, but that may be a moot point. I'm guessing but TxDOT's looking to expand Country Club through Lucas.
Right, and the Southwell to take it into Wiley.
All the way down into Wiley. And the Lucas Road, they've got the money's been allocated to do that. I don't know where they stand on that. I need to have a meeting with Jim down there, the mayor of Lucas, just to kind of catch up between us. TxDOT was going to have the public hearing on Country Club last Thursday, but it was canceled because of the ice. So I haven't heard that it's been rescheduled, but I'm going to go because I'm just curious to hear what the Lucas folks have to say about this. I'm guessing, there are going to be some people who think it's a good idea, and there's going to be some people who don't like it.
They've got to do something.
When you get down at the southern end of that, it is a mess.
On a work day, trying to make a left onto 3286, you've got 4 lights you have to wait through to make that left turn.
It's pretty bad. So that's another thing that's happening on Fairview on Country Club. 2-3 years ago, I think it was, TxDOT fixed the shoulders through Lucas. They're going to be doing that through Fairview in 2023. And I think this left-hand turn lane, the turn lanes with Red Oak and Hart Road and stuff will be part of that project.
I thought they were widening it, but they were just...
No, it's just literally having a shoulder.
Yeah.
There's a couple places, especially if you go north, coming north of like where Harper's Landing is, you go up there.
Yeah.
There's a couple places where there is no shoulder. I mean, there's a culvert there. If somebody missed it, had a tire go off there, I mean, somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So they're going to go in and fix all that stuff up there. There'll probably be, we have a little bit of a drainage problem occasionally up at Hart and Country Club, and I'm guessing TxDOT ought to take care of that when they do this stuff. Oh, I don't say guess. They will. I know they will. Okay. And hopefully get to turn lanes at the same time. There's a lot going on.
There really is. And I didn't know, last time we talked, we didn't even get into this. So thank you for updating me on that. I want to shift gears real quickly to McKinney Airport. And I'm still getting, people saying, McKinney Airport's going to be another love field, and I keep telling them, guys, it's not. This is a small little commuter airport. They do have some private jets that fly in and out of there, but it's not a commercial airport like you would envision. Anything happening new on McKinney Airport?
So I was up there the other day. I had my little company is being purchased, and the people that are buying it flew in on their jet. So I was up there. So nice. I was visiting with I know the manager up there really well. I've visited with him numerous times. So I was kind of what's going on. So if you remember, McKinney would like that to be a love field one of these days.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's going to happen, and I'll say this. If you remind everybody that there's a 10,000-foot runway up in Sherman, on the southwest side of Sherman, that used to be an Air Force base. That would be a really good place for the next regional airport. And McKinney won't like to hear that, but that's what I tell everybody. Yeah. McKinney right now is focused on corporate jets.
Right.
And there is a bunch of them out there. It's a lot more than what most people probably would know. So one of the things that we've talked about before is that we have a deal kind of with McKinney on roads and stuff. They have to extend the runway because TI and Toyota are the two that my understanding that have threatened to pull out because the runway's not long enough because they can't load up their big jets with enough fuel and passengers to fly directly to Japan and China. They have to stop in Alaska.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. You mean they could fly directly to...
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing.
I used to do that in my old career. I did that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. And I've actually landed out there one time, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they would go north on they couldn't go south. They'd have to go expand north.
So no. So this is what we've worked out with McKinney. They need 1,500 feet. They've agreed to go 500 feet south, which they were going to go 1,500 feet south, which takes them into our property, Fairview's property there. But they've agreed to go 500, and then they're going to go 1,000 feet north. Okay. And that's a big deal because it's like $20 million for them to do that. If you know anything about
what for the cost of
yes, because the runway, if you go north of there, it's a big drop off, and it's a wetlands. So you got all the EPA stuff that's going on associated with it. They're working on that right now. That's what we talked about. But I mean, there's an enormous amount of fill that has to be brought in there. And the good news for McKinney is TxDOT's paying for most of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's kind of what's going on. So it's all kind of in progress. When are we going to see somebody moving dirt around?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're working on it. People saw that and they say, oh my God, they're going to start flying in here. Well, they don't.
Yeah.
It is literally a place, they bring stuff there and they distribute it from there.
Okay. But to get it there, so they truck it in and truck it out. They don't fly it in. I was wondering about that too.
Yeah. And
that's why they position it
they're actually
there.
Not on the runway. They're not on a taxiway or anything, which is kind of like, I was surprised.
Okay.
But I mean, that was one of the things I looked at while I was there and talked to their airport manager. I was shocked that, why would they have built there other than McKinney's trying to attract companies and stuff in that area, and then they're being fairly successful for what I saw. But the big deal up there for the airport is they need to extend the runway to keep some of the bigger jets. And and I'll just say, this is what I tell our residents about is, if you're ever out there, I've been in the control tower a couple times, and you watch the small planes. The small planes, I mean, it doesn't take anything for them to get up in the air. And when they get up, they're supposed to turn to the east and go out over Lake Lavon.
Yeah.
So we're going to move them 1,000 feet further away from us.
Okay.
So instead of going up in the air and turning, just maybe touching our territory and people being here, they're going to be turning on runway, on the airport property over there.
Now, is that a request you make? They can't force them to do that, can they?
The tower does that. They can't force them, but the tower
ask them, would you please
to.
go to the left?
Yes,
okay.
it's
makes sense.
You know, and it's also interesting. The tower controls up to a certain height. I think it's 500 feet. They control takeoffs and landings, the runways, access and stuff, and at like 500 feet. Once they get above that, then it's over at DF. It's actually in Fort Worth. Somebody over in Fort Worth then takes over the flights. Okay. And they are the ones that kind of guide them. And so people ask me about this. You know, I think this is going to be good for the Fairview residents. Be taken off 1,000 feet further away from us, and you know, my take is watching how quickly they get up in the air. They're going to be turning over airport property and not come into Fairview. Yeah. The jets, you know, there's nothing we can do about that. Right. They take off, they go straight. Right. You know, that's what they do. Yeah. The airport's there. The FAA apparently wants it there. Yeah. And you know, I think I've told you, and I've talked to the residents about this before. You know, I had my kind of aha moment with the airport is when they did the first expansion out there and made it concrete. And I went into I was the only person there from Fairview. I went as a council member and kind of represented the council. And I saw everybody from our U.S. senators, U.S. representatives, state, local, county. I mean, there was a whole row of elected officials up on this stage, and needless to say, I wasn't there, and they were all gushing about the fact that this airport's there, and I'm like, we're not gonna beat that. Well, kind of we took a different approach. We started then getting involved. We actually had one of our members, Adam, was attended board meetings just to find out what's going on. Yeah. And then McKinney bought it, and you know, I think between Darian and then myself, we've established a pretty good relationship with them, and you know, we're not going to stop the airport. It's not going to happen. Yeah. But what we need to do is like what I did with the runway. If you could, please do this. Yeah. And what we gave up for that, by the way, just so everybody knows, I mean, there's a letter, and I've written about this, is the roads. And because that road, either spur 399 is going to come through there, 546, an expanded road is going to go through there. And our property is a little bit like, I always describe it as West Virginia, you know, a little part that kind of bumps up. We've said, if you need to, we would allow you to go through that little part. You know, you're not coming down into the main part of the road or territory. It's our territory. Yeah. But we're not coming down into the main part of the 83 acres. They're going to clip it. And you know, to get the runway 1,000 feet north, to me that was really well worth it. That was the first thing I did as a mayor. Yeah, that's good. And there's a bunch of people that like the fact there's corporate jets there. Yeah,
we've sold homes to people that own corporate jets.
I'm going to guess there's
very convenient.
You know, anybody who's executive kind of person, who, you know, who can, you know, you sell houses, you know how much things are. Yeah. Who can afford to buy these houses? People who make a bunch of money and are at the corporate, and they may be using those jets. Yeah. So, you know, I don't like it being there either. I don't like the noise, but it is there, and we're going to learn to live with it.
It's better than the landfill that used to be.
Well, the landfill, the landfill is what Spur 399 goes over right now. So that's the landfill.
Have you seen that methane burning?
Yeah, oh yeah,
they keep that running day and night.
Yeah.
If you haven't been out to Fairview, when I don't know how long ago, it was 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, 30 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, that was my first political thing I got involved in Fairview, was walking neighborhoods, signing petitions against, they were going to expand, and you know, by the way, that was North Texas Municipal Water District who owned that. They were going to expand that. So for whatever reason, I don't think we probably had much to do with it, but that's when they built the property up in Melissa, which is just humongous. Yeah. But
you get that sweet, sickly smell, and if the wind was blowing in the right direction, that was tough to combat, but that's gone now.
So the good news, they've covered it up. You know, they're taking care of the methane. I mean, right now, I don't know what's going to happen with that property. Probably nothing. Yeah. I've seen proposals for a park there at one point, and but then you go just beyond that. That's where their warehouse and industrial area starts, and I don't think anything's going to be there for a long time, if ever.
Yeah. What do you see right now is the biggest issue on your plate? What are people not complaining about? What do the Fairview townspeople want you to address more than anything, would you say, right now? Or have you already talked about it?
Internet service.
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Yeah. I literally I wrote my mayor's message that's coming out in April. I hate that I have to write 30 days in advance, but AT&T, you know, I've spent years, frankly, working on AT&T. We are making some progress. They've got fiber in a couple neighborhoods here. The big deal is they've got fiber in a bunch of places, and they're not offering the service yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they're waiting to do like one big announcement.
Well, last time we talked, they were starting from the west side, and they were going to move east.
It's along East Stacy now. So all the horse streets over there.
Okay.
They're into that now, and Kentucky, that area. So they're doing that. I mean, the fiber was going in over the past couple of weeks. And
so they don't have a rhyme or reason of how they don't start at one side and go all the way through, I guess.
That's what I thought they did. And I think they are doing that. I mean, I get ahead of myself, but I mean, hopefully by the time people see this, maybe some of this will happen. Oakwood was going to be the next. Anything from where Bridal Gate and River Oaks 1 is, everything east of there, Oakwood, north of the creek, Oakwood, Fox Glen, the old Stacy Road, that area along there where there's some people that really need internet service, all along there to Stacy. That was their next target.
Okay.
And they have put fiber in there. They just haven't offered the service yet. I was told Rich Conley, one of our council members, lives out there, former HOA president. He actually has received an advertisement for AT&T about it. But if you call them, it's not available yet. And I can't tell you why, but I know it's not.
Yeah.
But what has happened is then they've going east to west to east, then they go across and they've gone down East Stacy. Okay. The fire station.
But then they have to hook up every street to it.
And they're doing. They're working on that. They're going to go all.
So they're
Seattle,
working on
Slough,
Horseman's right now. The
yes,
Horseman Estates.
Yeah.
Wow.
All those. That's being done.
I wonder why they picked that.
And then, well, because we asked them to, and we've been bugging them. The other thing that's out there related to this, and this is a big deal, is that if you again follow East Stacy out there, remember it makes the big S curve. And the Campbell property that's out there has just been zoned. Tony Pritchard's doing that. There's 2 streets that go up there. And and Tony himself has had this conversation with AT&T about, because they want them to go out there and pre-wire that for fiber. Well, one of the streets that we've always been worried about who can't even get telephone service is Summit Court. So how do you get to Summit Court?
That's kind of an outlier, isn't it?
So come at Summit Court, you go to the end of Stacy, you go down. And
make your first left.
Summit Court is behind the Campbell property.
Okay.
So the question was, well, why don't they run the fiber through there?
Yeah.
Tony Pritchard said they can do that, and AT&T is aware of it. So I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
That's good because there's only about 15 or 20 homes back there, aren't there? On Summit Court?
It's not very many, but I mean, there's one gentleman out there. I've talked to most of them. Their internet service is atrocious. They use hotspots.
Really? And they sit so high.
And there's actually a guy out there who can't even get regular telephone service.
Unbelievable.
So
you know how high that sits? You'd think they'd be able to find a tower somewhere.
End it's high.
Yeah, the other end's low.
The other end is really low.
Yeah, you're right.
And so it's not, I mean, they're just, there's a couple of point-to-point service providers now. I think one of them out of Lucas. Everybody's tried. Yeah, they've tried to do that and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They've been just, that's the worst place in town, and it's always one of those things we want to make sure when we've talked to AT&T. I think I've also mentioned this before. And maybe AT&T is waiting for this. We have come up with a guarantee. We will pay AT&T. The town of Fairview will pay you a amount of money if you guarantee within 2 years of signing this deal that you will guarantee that 100% of people in Fairview can get AT&T fiber. Now, Heritage Ranch is a bit of a problem there, and I've talked to Heritage Ranch about this. Yeah. Because AT&T wants to take that separately. AT&T has no service out there. They have no engineering. They have no right-of-way, no easements, no nothing. And they've got Grundy out there. Yeah. And Grundy provides good service, from what I understand. But the problem with Grundy right now is prices keep ratcheting up. There's no competition. So they're looking to do that. So
can you say how much of an incentive you gave them? AT&T?
I'd rather not say that right now.
But it's going to make it worth their while.
It will be a public document when we agree to it.
And it's enough you think it'll say, okay, let's get this done.
From AT&T's, they're $100 billion. Yeah. This is like pittance to them. Yeah.
It's very proactive of you to
But it
offer
is something to initiate this, to show them that we are serious. The other thing is that we tell them about, and they've experienced this, when they go into a neighborhood like River Oaks 1, 80% of the people sign up for their service, and eventually Probably everybody will.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can look at the entirety of Fairview. They're going to get everybody. And we have, we have high-income people that use lots of services, multiple services. AT&T is going to make a ton of money off this.
A lot of radiologists and doctors who work from home that have to look at charts. They have to have that quick, back and forth.
When I talk about old Stacy, these folks have been talking to me for years about when their kids were at home because when Lovejoy was closed, they couldn't go to school.
Yeah.
I mean, kids crying at home because they're afraid they're going to miss their lessons.
Yeah.
It
just sucked up all the internet use, and there was nothing left for parents.
There's no way for them to get good service in there.
Would you explain just real quickly? People ask me still about why Country Club. Why Stacy dead ends a country club, and you've got that path to go through. Why wasn't that ever extended? Who owns that? Will it ever happen?
Okay. So that property is owned by the county. Collin County owns that. The Fairview has always been concerned, and this goes back into the 90s when some of the stuff going on with McKinney was happening. McKinney has always had it on their plan to have a loop around McKinney. And Stacy Rd was part of that. Right. And so their plan was to come down County Road 317, hit Stacy, go around to Stacy, and then where it hits Custer, which is now, that's part of their loop. So previous councils and every council since then has done everything they can to block that.
Yeah. Is that why Heritage Ranch was put in?
No, Heritage Ranch was done because they thought that somehow having homes under the runway flight path would somehow slow the airport down. And that didn't happen.
That didn't work out real well, did it?
Well, we have Heritage Ranch and a great golf course now. A whole bunch of really good people out there. So, but that piece of property that goes around behind the fire station there is owned by the county. Go back, I don't remember when we did this, but when Darien was mayor, we actually tried to negotiate with that. And because we as a town have a fiduciary duty to our taxpayers, and Collin County has a fiduciary duty to their taxpayers, we had to get appraisals. So they got an appraisal that said this, we got an appraisal that said this. Unfortunately, those appraisals weren't, as you know better than me, they don't match. So we tried negotiating and we never got anywhere and we just kind of dropped it. It's still kind of one of those things on my bucket list. I would love to see if we could buy that property.
And make it into a park or something?
And my big vision is, and I've always talked about doing this, they will never build a road through there if Lovejoy's involved and we have a nice wildflower garden or something like that. So I've said, talking about making it a park. And make it like Richardson does in their medians. They have a wildflower festival. Maybe there's something we could do with that area and have make it look nice. But right now, as things stand right now, I mean that is not going to be built on. Now I'll just tell you, there are people who want us to let it go and build through there because they avoid that traffic problem. The problem with that though is if we allow that to happen, East Stacy Road becomes a major road, and trucks will be going through there. Lots more traffic will be going through there, and it's been our objective to not help that happen.
Right. So, do you ever drive down Orr?
Yes, I do.
That is unbelievable how bad that road is.
It is really bad.
But they're working on it now. Finally, they're concreting it.
There's a tiny piece that's being concreted, and we're involved in that. They're concreting the piece from where the North Texas Municipal Water District. Waste treatment plant is.
It starts from there, goes up to Stacy Road,
and that's it. No more.
Oh, they're not going to take
That's the end of it. Okay. So and who's paying for North Texas Municipal Water District's paying for most of it.
But that should take care of it though, because those heavy trucks, they very rarely go south on Orr. They normally go north.
The only time they went south and they messed up Lucas's roads is when that East Stacy was under construction. They went there and ruined Forest Grove Road for Lucas. That is for their trucks basically, and that's why they're doing it. But if you go north of Stacy out to, all the way up to the airport, I mean it's pretty bad. Where the low water crossing is there.
We take that up to the square, McKinney Square, a lot, and we never take our good car because it's like four-wheeling up and down that road. It's a beautiful drive.
Every once in a while, McKinney goes in and they lays some asphalt over a place that's really, really bad or washes out. But that road will eventually be fixed, but I don't know. It's on the, I think it's the COG plan as a 4-lane divided road one of these days.
Okay.
The other thing that's happening, if you get out there right at the airport where 546 comes around, I'm guessing that anybody listening to this knows about it. There's a concrete recycling plant there.
I saw that. Yeah.
McKinney has approved. It's on. It's McKinney annexed the land and allowed them to put a concrete recycling.
Okay.
And then there's the Fairview soccer facility that's there, and right next to that is the concrete recycling plant. I am less concerned about the concrete recycling plant, but if you go just north of that, TXI, and that is not annexed into McKinney, and McKinney has nothing to say about it. TXI has filed with TCEQ to put a batch plant there, a permanent concrete batch plant. Wow. So again, it's not in our territory. There are people in Fairview, McKinney, Lovejoy School District, the Herd Museum. I talked to them, trying to, what do we do? It's really with the TCEQ. It's in their hands right now. And my understanding is there's like 66 pages.
Yeah, TCEQ is Texas Environmental Quality. Commission.
Texas Commission on Environmental Quality is what it is, and anything to do with water and air pollution and stuff.
Septic systems.
There are rules that they put out on that. But my understanding is literally they've come out with, I haven't seen it, but it's out there probably on their website. They have 66 pages of comments. Wow. Mostly negative about it. Yeah. And I was told that the bottom line was, well, that's nice, but we're going to allow this to go anyway. Yeah. So it's one of those things, it's kind of like the airport. It's there.
Well, at least the prevailing winds are out of the south, so it blows it into McKinney. Yeah.
But I mean, there's some, there's people that live just east of there.
Yeah.
They're going to be impacted. And, the other thing that just shocked me was, McKinney's looking, it's a corporate airport. Mm-hmm. And you don't want concrete batch plants and stuff next to a corporate airport. Mm-hmm. I was kind of surprised they didn't jump on that a little bit more than they did. Yeah. But, I guess they got their hands full doing other things.
Yeah. Well, Henry, thank you so much. Again, God, every time I come here, I think, well, I know the area pretty well. And then I come in and it's like every 6 months, great things are happening. Yeah. And we can't talk about them all at once. So I'm excited to see about what happens 6 months from now. Yeah. I can't wait to see these restaurants open up. We'll have to try some of them, see how they go.
And the other thing, as a realtor, looking at we got the Stoddard, Kelly, and Pizzulli property over there. That I'm surprised it's Stoddard property. There had many. They spent a bunch of money putting a road in there and drainage and stuff. I don't know when they're going to start the first house, but those 3 small properties, there's a small property, 5 houses over on across from Sloan Creek Intermediate School, and the Campbell property, which I think is 20 houses maybe. And then you've got what was the Moldov property that Justin is doing.
Right,
I think there's 11, and that's it. Once that's happening, we're done. Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen now is a developer is going to come in and he's going to put together a conglomeration. Yeah. And what I tell people, gosh, if you could buy a home in Montecito Estates on a heavily wooded lot, you can't buy a lot out here for under $550,000 to $600,000.
$595 was 2 or 3 years ago is what the Stoddard property was. $595 for a 2-acre lot. Yeah. Yeah. And almost all the lots are 2 acres now. Yeah. All the Campbell properties 2 acres. Most of those, there's a couple 1.5-acre lots. But Hawkswood on Stacy, where the new restaurant is, back behind there, there's 10 lots, 8 lots, something like that. And it's extension. If you go into Hawkswood, come in Stacy, go into Hawkswood, wind around there, and then the first left. I don't remember what that name is, but
there's a dead end.
It ends. Yeah. So that is being developed, and I think there's 8 homes back in there. From Fairview across 75 over to Hart, not Chelsea, they call it Allen. Yeah. Over to there and down to where Ridgeview is. All of that's McKinney School District.
So are they going to develop both sides at the same time?
No.
You're going to do yours first?
I think they're going to do ours first because, one, we're ready we've done the zoning work that needs to be done. The issue is roads. We got to get Frisco Road done. And they're all in on this to get that done. From Alan's perspective, Ridgeview's got to be done. You know, some of the other infrastructure over there has to be put in. And see, we're ahead of. We're probably 3 years ahead of Allen.
Yeah.
Now Allen's got a lot more money than we do,
Right.
and a lot more resources than we do. They're going to catch up, but I think we're going to go first.
Yeah. So Henry, thank you very much. You're always a wealth of information. You're passionate about Fairview. You're a great mayor, and they're lucky to have you.
Well, thank you, Tom. It's my pleasure. I thoroughly enjoy doing this with you and getting the information out to anybody who's listening. Yeah. And I'll just let you know, and everybody knows. If I'm easy to find.
Yeah,
if you got a question, what's going on? Let me know. I'll tell you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Tom. Thank you.
All right.